Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so our mission here, like always, is pretty simple. We take this huge pile of source material, and today it's a really deep guide on essential English phrases, the everyday stuff. And we basically boil it all down for you. The goal is to pull out the most powerful, actionable tools you need, so you can step into pretty much any conversation feeling, comfortable and confident.
Exactly. And today's deep dive, it's really about um, mastering things efficiently.
Hmm.
Learners often get caught up trying to memorize massive vocabulary lists.
Oh, yeah, the endless list.
Right. But the actual secret to sounding fluent, it isn't really about knowing 1,000 nouns. It's about truly mastering maybe a few hundred key phrases, the ones that build the whole structure of how we talk every day.
Ah, okay.
These phrases are, you could say, the social lubricants, the road signs of English conversation.
Absolutely. And we're not just going to read a textbook at you here. That's not the plan. We really want to get you to conversational mastery. So it's not just about knowing the words, but understanding the social weight they have. Like, when should you actually use a phrase? And maybe even more critical, when should you definitely not use it?
hmm We've basically broken down the source material into five key areas. We're covering everything
Yeah.
from the basic hellos and goodbyes
Mhm.
all the way through handling communication problems, asking for directions, buying things, even politely disagreeing. The whole guide is really set up for you to use immediately
Mhm.
right after you finish listening.
Okay, brilliant. Let's unpack this then, because honestly, every single successful interaction, doesn't matter if you're just ordering a coffee or, negotiating something big, it all comes down to the same basic building blocks. So we absolutely have to start with the fundamentals, getting that polite foundation right.
Right. So when you first make contact, you're entering what the source material calls the greeting spectrum. The most basic split is between hello and hi.
Yeah.
Functionally, they mean the same thing, sure, but they signal really different social distances.
Yeah, hello is kind of your safety net, isn't it? It's simple. You can use it anywhere, anytime. There's basically zero social risk. You use hello in a formal situation or with someone you don't know, even just, quick and polite with the barista. It's kind of the gold standard for playing it safe.
Yeah, totally. Whereas hi suggests you already know the person or you're assuming a certain level of informality. It's shorter, quicker, usually for friends, colleagues, people you see around.
Right.
I mean, if you say hi to the CEO you bump into in the hallway, it might be okay, but it's definitely pushing those formal boundaries a bit. The source material actually suggests, if you're ever in doubt as a learner, just stick with hello.
Good tip. Okay, so you've made contact. Now the conversation needs to, well, flow. And that next bit, how are you? It's so common, but it comes with this huge, social warning that learners often miss, right?
It really does.
Yeah.
In most English-speaking cultures, how are you is primarily a ritual. It's a conversational marker. It's not usually a genuine request for a detailed health update.
Uh-huh, yeah, definitely not.
It's just that necessary follow-up to the greeting. It signals, okay, I see you. I'm open for a quick chat.
And the way you answer, that's where the sort of unwritten rules really show up. The sources lay out the standard formal response pretty clearly. I'm fine, thank you. And you. That three-part structure is key.
Absolutely. Part one, I'm fine. It's almost expected. You're generally supposed to give a positive or neutral answer,
Yeah.
even if your day is actually terrible.
Right, keep it light.
Part two, thank you, shows you appreciate them asking. And part three, the really crucial one, and you. That closes the loop. It politely puts the focus back on them, shows respect, and finishes that politeness cycle.
Yeah, and if you don't ask, and you,
Yeah.
I mean, it can come across as pretty blunt, even a bit rude sometimes. If you just say, I'm fine, thanks, and then boom, move on, it can feel like you're just cutting the conversation short, like you're dismissing them.
Exactly. And a big warning from the sources here. Learners really need to avoid giving super negative or overly long answers to how are you? Unless, it's a really close friend or family.
Hmm.
If a stranger or just an acquaintance asks, how are you? And you suddenly start talking about, I don't know, your recent root canal in detail.
Yeah, you've broken the code.
You've broken the social contract of that phrase. Keep it short. Keep it generally positive. That's the rule.
Okay, but what about more casual situations? Because how are you can sound a little stiff sometimes, can it?
For sure. That's where you get phrases like, how's it going?
Mhm.
Or maybe even, what's up? These are much more relaxed. What's up?
Yeah.
Super informal. Often it doesn't even get a verbal reply, maybe
Oh.
just a nod or not much.
Right. And the typical answers for how's it going are different too. You don't usually hear, I'm fine. It's more like, it's going well, thanks, or just good, thanks, or even shorter, like, not bad, you. It really emphasizes that relaxed vibe.
Okay, so moving on from the initial hellos, we get into asking for attention, making requests, the language you use to sort of navigate social space,
Mhm.
and the absolute powerhouse phrase here is, excuse me.
Right, and the source guide points out that excuse me is basically doing two different jobs, even though it's the same words.
It's incredibly versatile, yeah.
Yeah.
Job number one,
Yeah.
getting someone's attention, usually because you need to interrupt them or ask something.
Yeah.
Like if you need directions from a stranger, you'd start with, excuse me, do you know where the library is? And it's
Eh.
like the little verbal flag that says, hey, need a second of your time?
And job number two, the physical space thing. If you're trying to get through a crowded train or down a busy supermarket aisle, excuse me is the polite way to say, need to get past here. It lets you assert your presence without being aggressive. You could even use it maybe less now, but as a very soft apology if you accidentally bump someone.
And tied right into asking for things is the absolute structural necessity of please. This word isn't just, optional politeness. It's pretty much vital.
The sources really hammer this home. Please is basically non-negotiable if you're learning English. Think about how it works mechanically. When you ask for something directly, say in a cafe,
Yeah.
the basic verb is a command, like bring me water.
Right. And even if you soften it slightly to can I have a glass of water
Mm-hmm.
without please, it still has that demanding edge. But adding please, can I have a glass of water, please,
Mm-hmm.
instantly changes it. It turns that command into a polite, socially okay request.
Yeah.
It's that language lubricant again. It makes sure you get what you need without sounding rude or entitled. It's like required vocabulary for getting things done politely.
Which leads perfectly into closing that loop. Someone does something for you, fulfills your request.
Mm-hmm.
You have to deploy the essential thank you, probably the single most important phrase for showing gratitude in English.
It's absolutely fundamental. And importantly for you as the learner, when someone thanks you, you need the right response ready. The guide gives us three main options, and they each have slightly different social flavors.
Okay, first up, the standard, the formal, the one that works everywhere. You're welcome. You really can't go wrong with this one. Talking to your boss, getting change from a cashier, you're welcome fits.
Then you have the more casual responses that have become really common. No problem, and it's okay. What's interesting here is the underlying social thing happening. No problem is super common, especially in service jobs now. Why? Because it subtly minimizes the effort involved.
Oh, that's a really interesting way to put it. Minimizing the imposition. So by saying no problem, you're kind of saying, hey, what you asked for. It was so easy it didn't trouble me at all. Which creates a more friendly, easygoing feel. Makes sense why younger people or service staff might prefer it over the slightly more formal, you're welcome.
Exactly. But there's a small caution. Using no problem in a really formal setting, say responding to thanks from a very senior person or an official, it might feel a little too casual, maybe slightly dismissive of their status.
Ah, okay. Good point.
So you're welcome is still your safest bet in those high formality situations.
Got it. And just quickly before we move on, the farewells, we have the formal goodbye, the very common casual bye, and those time-related ones like see you later or see you soon.
And we definitely need to highlight good night. This one trips learners up sometimes. They confuse it with good evening. But good evening is for arriving. It's a greeting. Good night is only a farewell. You only use it when someone's actually going to bed or when you're leaving a place late at night and you won't see them again until tomorrow. It's like the final closing statement for the day.
Okay, so we've got the polite start down. But what happens when, that carefully built conversation just breaks? Because let's be real, when you're learning a language, not understanding something isn't just possible. It's like guaranteed. It's part of the process.
Absolutely. This section is basically the learner's emergency kit. It's the set of language tools that stops you from just freezing up in frustration. The goal isn't just to say, I don't understand, but to actually, steer the conversation back so you can get clarity.
So the fastest, most efficient way is that quick repeat request. Right,
Yeah.
sorry. But with that rising tone.
Exactly. That little upward pitch at the end is key. It instantly signals, whoops, didn't catch that, or didn't quite get the meaning. It asks for a repeat without needing a whole sentence. Super useful.
And if the situation feels a bit more formal,
The source suggests pardon. Although, quick note, pardon can sound a little old-fashioned in American English these days. Still common in British English, though, and generally seen as more formal than sorry.
okay.
But honestly, if you're not sure, sorry. With the rising tone works pretty much everywhere. It's the safe, universal choice.
But sometimes the problem isn't hearing the words, it's the speed, right? Native speakers talk fast, they blend words.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This takes a bit of courage, but you need a phrase for pace control. The best one is, could you speak more slowly, please? It directly tackles the speed issue, but politely. Using could you makes it a soft request, not a demand. So the speaker is usually happy to adjust.
And what if you hear the words, understand them individually, but the whole idea, the concept is still fuzzy?
Then you need to ask for the content to be re-explained. The go-to phrase is, could you explain that again, please? This is actually quite a sophisticated request. You're telling them, look, I heard the sounds, but I need you to present the idea differently. Uh, Maybe use simpler words or give an example. It shows you're engaged, just needing a different angle.
And what about just, admitting defeat? Sometimes you genuinely just don't get it.
The straightforward way is simply, I don't understand. And that's perfectly okay. But the sources do note that learners sometimes feel bad saying this, like they're admitting failure.
Yeah, I can see that.
So for a softer approach, you could try something like, I'm afraid I didn't quite catch that. Or maybe, I'm a little confused about that last part. Using those slightly apologetic framings can soften the admission and encourage the speaker to clarify gently without making you feel put on the spot.
Okay, good alternatives. Now, once you've maybe paused things or gotten a repeat, you need to actually get the information you were missing, which means mastering those information query words, the fundamental starting points, the W and how questions.
Exactly. These 6 words, what, where, when, why, who, and how, they unlock almost all practical everyday questions. They're not just vocabulary items. They're like grammatical templates you can plug things into.
Yeah, let's break down how useful these templates are. Because the same word can do different jobs depending on what follows it.
Take what? It asks about identity or type. What is your name? What kind of music do you listen to? Or the super common one, what time is it?
Then where, obviously for location. Where is the nearest bus stop? Where did you put my keys?
When nails down the timing. When does the movie start? When are you leaving?
Why asks for a reason or justification. Why did you choose this restaurant? This one often needs a longer answer, usually starting with because.
Who focuses only on people's identity? Who is that person? Who are you waiting for?
And then there's how, which is maybe the most flexible one, right? It usually needs another word with it.
Absolutely. How rarely works alone. It teams up with adjectives or adverbs to make more specific questions. The sources give great examples of these how combinations. You've got how much that's for price or for things you can't count, like water or sugar.
Right. Uncountable nouns.
Well, here are money for things you can count, like books or people. How long asked about duration, like time or physical length. How often is for frequency, how far is for distance. Seriously, mastering these characters. How pairs is like learning 5 or 6 question templates all at once.
Wow, yeah. So you're not just learning words, you're learning the structure they enable. How much does this cost? How far is it to the station? How often do you come here? That's really efficient.
That's the key insight, yeah, the structural power. And the big reminder always is to wrap these questions in the politeness we talked about earlier. You generally shouldn't just walk up to someone and bark a question, unless maybe it's a close friend.
Right, so instead of just, what time is it? You soften it. Excuse me, what time is it, please? That really signals you're a considerate, clued-in learner.
Okay, let's shift into some really practical, high-use situations, starting with asking for help and offering it. This is just fundamental for, daily survival and convenience.
When you genuinely need assistance, the most direct way is simply, can you help me? But that's pretty broad, isn't it? To make it easier for someone to help, you probably need to be more specific.
Yeah, definitely. If you know what the problem is, the structure I need help with, and then adding the detail is really efficient. For instance, I need help with this application form, or I need help with carrying these bags. It tells the other person instantly what kind of help is needed.
And for travelers, that specific structure for finding places seems really useful. Could you help me find? Using could makes it polite and it sets a clear goal. Could you help me find the train station? Or could you help me find a good place for lunch around here? A great template to have ready.
Now let's flip it. Offering help. You see someone looking lost or struggling. You want to sound helpful but not, intrusive. The 2 simplest phrases are, can I help you? Or do you need any help?
Yeah, those are great. Straightforward, polite, work in almost any situation. Whether you're working in a shop or just, see someone drop their shopping. It just signals you're available if they need you without being pushy.
Okay, next vital area. Understanding directions and instructions. Essential stuff. whether you're trying to find your way in a new city, follow a recipe, or figure out a new coffee machine. Starts with the basic directional words.
These are the absolute must-knows, the verbs of movement. Go straight ahead, turn left, turn right. If you only learn three, make it these three.
Then you need the words that place the destination relative to other things. The location markers, the prepositions. Things like, it's on the left, or it's on the right. It's next to something. It's opposite something, meaning directly across from it. Or maybe it's behind, or it's in front of.
Let's try putting those together, like in the source example. Someone might say, okay, go straight ahead for about 2 blocks, then turn left when you see the big supermarket. The bank is opposite the supermarket, right next to the pharmacy. So the learner has to quickly process the movement, go straight, turn left, and then pinpoint the location using those markers. Opposite, next to.
Yeah, and an important little note from the source material here, kind of a listening tip. Native speakers, especially when talking fast-giving directions, often drop small words like prepositions or articles.
Oh, like how?
You might hear someone say, turn left light, instead of the full turn left at the light.
Ah, okay. Shortcut language.
Exactly. So you kind of need to train your ear to fill in those small gaps sometimes.
Good point. And what about when someone's giving you steps, like how to assemble furniture or use a ticket machine? They use sequencing words.
Right. These words signal the order things need to happen in. The source highlights the main ones. First, then, next, and finally. Understanding these helps you mentally organize the process straight away. Like, first, insert your card, then enter your peon. Next, select the amount. And finally, take your cash.
Makes sense. Okay, third really common context, commerce and dining. Let's face it, if you can't handle buying things and ordering food, your daily life gets pretty restricted.
Absolutely. So in a shop, the key interactions are usually quite direct. Asking the price, how much is this? Or maybe, what's the price of this? And asking about variations. Do you have this in another size? Or do you have this in black?
And the shop assistant side of the conversation is usually pretty predictable too, right? They'll often start with, can I help you? And when they hand you something, the item, your change, the receipt, they'll say, here you are, or...
There you go. Exactly. Those last two basically just mean, I'm giving this to you now. Pretty much interchangeable.
Okay, now restaurants. There's a definite flow here.
Step 1, getting the menu. Simple. Can I have the menu, please? Step 2, indicating you're ready to order. I'd like to order. Notice the use of I'd like. That's a contraction of I would like. It sounds much softer and more polite than just saying I want.
Good distinction. Always go for I'd like or I'll have.
Right. The waiter or server will then use standard confirmation phrases. Are you ready to order? Or after you've ordered one thing, they might ask, anything else?
And during the meal, they might pop over and ask, how is everything?
To which the standard polite reply, even if it's just okay, is usually something like, it's great, thank you, or everything's lovely, thanks.
Right. And then the middle part, actually saying what you want. That's where you need your food vocabulary, obviously. But the structure is usually, I'll have the dish name, please, or I'd like the dish name, please.
And the final, really important step, asking to pay. This one actually varies a bit depending on where you are. In American English, the most common phrase is, can I have the check, please?
Check.
Okay. But in British English and some other places, it's, can I have the bill, please?
Bill. Got it.
Knowing that little difference can save you that slightly awkward pause at the end of the meal when you're trying to remember the right word.
All right, let's get into the core of socializing now, expressing what we actually think and feel. This whole section is about expressing yourself and managing those, person-to-person dynamics.
Starting with sharing opinions and beliefs, the most basic way for just a simple, non-controversial thought is I think. I think learning phrases is really useful. It's informal, everyone understands it, low risk.
And if you want to sound a bit more formal or maybe signal clearly that this is just your viewpoint,
then you use, in my opinion, this phrase is great because it kind of sets a boundary. It clearly marks the statement as subjective, which gives you a bit of wiggle room if someone disagrees. In my opinion, this podcast is helpful. See, it frames it nicely.
Okay. What about when you strongly agree with someone? You need words to show that enthusiasm.
Yeah, you want phrases that really affirm what they said. Things like, I agree, or even just,
exactly.
These keep the conversation flowing and make the other person feel heard and validated.
Oh, the tricky part for learners is often disagreement. Just saying I don't agree is very direct. And honestly, it can feel a bit blunt or confrontational in some cultures. It can stop the conversation dead. So the sources give us softer ways to disagree while keeping the conversation going.
Definitely. The first tactic is the hesitant approach. I'm not sure about that. This shows you have doubts, but you're not completely shutting down their idea. It actually invites them to explain more, to defend their point. It keeps the discussion alive.
Okay, that's useful. And the second one sounds really powerful, described as conversational diplomacy. I see your point.
Well, this one is gold. It's incredibly effective because it does two things at once.
What are they?
First, it validates the other person. You're saying, okay, I understand your reasoning. I get where you're coming from. That builds connection. Then, after showing you understand, you can introduce your different view. You might say, I see your point, but I worry that plan might be too risky.
Ah, acknowledge then counter. Smart.
It lets you disagree respectfully without making the other person feel dismissed. Learners should absolutely try to master it here. I see your point.
Definitely adding that one to my list. Okay, how about likes and dislikes? We need to be able to talk about preferences, but also manage how strong those feelings sound.
Exactly. For positive feelings, the scale is pretty clear. You've got I like it, a bit stronger, I like it very much, and the top level, I love it. And, people use love pretty casually in English for things like food or movies. I love sushi. But it still signals maximum enthusiasm.
Right. Now, negative feelings. Here we need more care, more nuance. The simple version is, I don't like it. If you really dislike it, you might say, I don't like it at all. Or the strongest option, I hate it.
And yeah, here comes that big warning sign again from the source material about the word hate. It is a very strong word. Learners really should be careful with it in casual chat. Unless you genuinely feel intense dislike or repulsion, it's probably best to avoid it. It carries a lot of negative emotional weight.
Okay, duly noted. Avoid casual hate.
So, to express dislike more gently, this is a fantastic takeaway phrase I'm not a big fan of.
Yes. That's super useful.
It's perfect for politely turning down food you don't like, or maybe an invitation to an activity you're not keen on, without sounding negative or critical. I'm not a big fan of opera, or I'm not a big fan of mushrooms.
Yeah, that lets you state your preference or boundary, but keeps things light and friendly. Great phrase. Okay, moving on. Talking about just daily life, feelings, the stuff of normal social chat, small talk.
Right. If you're telling a little story about your day, you just need simple time markers to start.
Yeah.
Today, I went for a run, or this morning I had a meeting. It helps the listener place the event immediately.
And expressing emotions, how you're feeling.
The basic template is I'm feeling. And then you add the emotion. I'm feeling happy today. I'm feeling a bit stressed. I'm feeling under the weather. It allows you to share honestly.
And checking in on others, especially at the end of the day.
The classic question is, how was your day? And the common replies often loop back to that positive default we talked about. It was good, thanks. Or maybe a slightly more nuanced, it was pretty busy, but okay.
Okay, last part of this section. Making plans, arranging to do things in the future. How do we suggest stuff?
Two main ways. You can be direct with let's, which is short for let us. Let's get coffee. Or a slightly softer way that opens it up for discussion is how about, followed by the enum form of the verb, how about getting pizza tonight? Or how about visiting the museum? Feels more like a suggestion than a decision.
And if you want to know what the other person is doing, their availability?
Simple, open questions work best. What are you doing later? Or, looking further ahead, what are your plans for the weekend? And when you state your own future intentions, there's a subtle difference between I will, or I'll, and I'm going to.
Yeah, this confuses learners sometimes.
Right. Generally use I will or I'll for more immediate, spontaneous decisions or offers made at the moment of speaking. Okay, I'll call you when I finish. Or, don't worry, I'll get the door. Use I'm going to do for plans you've already decided on before speaking. Things that are more definite future actions. I'm going to study for the test tonight. Or, we're going to visit France next summer.
Okay, we have covered a huge amount of conversational ground. Now let's look at some really specific high-stakes situations and also those little glue words that stick conversations together. Let's start with travel basics.
Yeah, travel phrases are often about location, timing, and just confirming your status. After you finally get somewhere after a long journey, the simple confirmation is, I have arrived.
And asking where things are relies heavily on that where is that structure we covered? Where is my hotel? Where is the baggage claim? Where is gate 23? Just plug in the specific noun you need.
For figuring out how to get around, you need phrases about transport options. How can I get to? Is very general. It asks for any options. How can I get to the city center? Or you could be more specific. Is there a bus to the airport? Or does the subway go near the museum? These help you sort out the logistics.
And timing is often critical when traveling. What time does the train leave? What time is boarding? And again, always good to add, excuse me and please to those.
Okay, next up, emergency preparedness. This is the section you hope you never need, but it's absolutely vital to know these, just in case. It's like having insurance.
So, if you need help urgently, right now the universal shout is just help. If you've lost something critical, you need to state clearly what it is. I've lost my passport, I've lost my wallet, I've lost my phone.
If you're feeling unwell, the basic phrase is, I feel sick. If it's more serious, I need a doctor. And if you need help finding one, where is a doctor? Or, more likely, where's the nearest hospital? Or, where's the nearest clinic?
And what about contacting emergency services? Police, ambulance, fire?
You absolutely must know the emergency number for the country you're in.
Like 911 in the US and Canada, 999 or 112 in the UK and Europe.
The phrase is simple but critical. I need to call the police. Or, can you call an ambulance, please? Or, there's a fire. Being able to say these clearly and quickly could literally save a life. So learners should practice them, even though they hope not to use them.
Yeah, really good advice. Practice them when calm.
And remember, the very next thing you usually need to say in an emergency after stating the problem is your location. I need an ambulance at address or landmark. That's crucial information.
Okay. Heavy but necessary stuff. Let's lighten it up with the final bit. Common shirt phrases. The little words that smooth everything out. The conversation glue.
Yeah, the source lists a few super common ones. Of course, is a strong yes. It means certainly, definitely, absolutely. It shows agreement with no hesitation.
Maybe introduces doubt or possibility. Maybe we can meet tomorrow instead.
And really, this one is all about the intonation. It's used constantly. If your voice goes up, really, you're showing surprise or asking, are you sure? Is that true?
Right. Questioning.
If your voice goes down,
Right.
really, it usually signals that you're confirming you understand, or maybe showing empathy, or sometimes even sarcasm, depending on the context. You have to listen to the tone.
Ah, the tricky ones.
Then that's great. Your standard all-purpose phrase for reacting positively to someone's good news or plans, simple and always welcome.
And finally, I know, this little phrase is a shortcut. It shows you're following the conversation, you agree, or you were already aware of the information. But there's a risk here, isn't there? The source mentions a potential problem with tone.
Huge risk. Potentially, if you say, I know with a flat or downward tone, especially if it's quick, it can sound really dismissive. Like you're saying, yeah, I already knew that, stop telling me. Which can be quite rude.
Ooh, yeah, don't want to do that accidentally.
So if you just want to show agreement without that risk, maybe use,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, or I agree. And if someone shares bad news, definitely avoid, use something empathetic like, oh no, that's too bad, or I'm sorry to hear that.
Excellent advice. So, wow, we've really covered a lot.
We really have. That's basically 11 major areas of communication, from saying hello to asking for help in an emergency. We've given you the building blocks to handle, honestly, almost any everyday situation you might encounter in English.
And pulling it all together, the big takeaway seems to be that these phrases aren't just about their dictionary definitions. It's about understanding the context, the social weight they carry. We've equipped you with tools to greet people correctly, handle misunderstandings gracefully, navigate shops and restaurants, and even express complex things like disagreement politely.
So what does this mean for you, the listener, on your learning journey?
Well, having the list of phrases is great. It's your map. But the source materials really stress that the key to actually using them effectively is practice and having the right mindset. These need to become second nature, almost automatic.
That's the goal, isn't it? Instinctive use. So let's quickly recap the best ways to get there according to the guide. First, practice. Use them every chance you get. Don't just read them, say them, even if it feels awkward at first.
Second, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Seriously, mistakes are not failures. They're proof that you're trying. They are a totally normal and necessary part of learning. Embrace the errors.
Third, immerse yourself. Listen, actively pay attention to how native speakers use these exact phrases.
Really.
Say, no problem, I see your point in real life, in movies, TV shows, podcasts, whatever. The more you hear them used naturally, the more naturally they'll feel coming out of your own mouth. And finally, review. Look back over these phrases now and then. Just refresh your memory. The aim is to move them from your conscious brain, where you have to think hard about them, into your conversational muscle memory. Once they're there, your fluency will just take off.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to chew on as you continue learning. We talked about how a simple phrase like, I see your point. Can completely change the dynamic of a disagreement, right? Turning potential conflict into respectful dialogue. So think about this. What other single, simple phrase could you focus on learning and using this week that might revolutionize a different part of your daily communication? Maybe it's about making plans or offering help or expressing gratitude more effectively. Consider how these small units of language don't just affect what you say, but fundamentally change how you connect with people and the quality of the relationships you build. Something to think about.